the huge range of distances that we just talked about. So we're in a situation where our existing principles handed from these revolutions are astonishingly powerful, and they work, but we have strong suspicions that the next step in physics has got to pull the rug out from under us and has to remove some of these principles from their primary role in the description of physics. And maybe this statement is a statement which most theoretical physicists who have thought about this problem would agree with, that certainly the notion of space-time is likely an approximate one and won't survive in a more the next complete description of physics. And this is because of some very simple thought experiments that we can do that have to do with the presence of both gravity and quantum mechanics. So the slogan is that because of gravity and quantum mechanics, the notion of space-time is doomed.
The physicists are saying precisely the same thing, that space-time is doomed. We've assumed that space-time is fundamental. We've assumed that for several centuries, and it's been very useful. So all the things that you were mentioning, the particles and all the work that's been done, that's all been done in space-time. But now physicists are saying space-time is doomed. There's no such thing as space-time fundamentally in the laws of physics. And that comes actually out of gravity together with quantum field theory. It just comes right out of it. It's a theorem of those two theories put together.
So Hoffman is not a physicist, but he talks to physicists. And what he says is they are finding that at the deepest levels, it doesn't work. Okay, space-time does not provide any values. You're basically staying inside of the same system. Okay, you're not actually learning any deep insights into what's behind the system. All you're doing is mapping it. And he relates it to an actual computer desktop. So what we're seeing is just an interface. Reality, space-time is an overlay. It's a GUI, if you will, or what he calls a multimodal user interface. So MUI, multimodal user interface. So that theory, what does MUI theory state? That perceptual experiences do not match our approximate properties of the objective world, but instead provide a simplified species-specific user interface to that world. So what he's postulating here, and he goes into this interview and gives a lot more detail, is that we are a specific construct, basically a unique entity, and he defines it as a conscious agent. We are actually conscious agents of human origin related to human consciousness. So quite amazing. He uses the metaphor of the desktop. So the computer desktop is the icons. The icons of the computer desktop provide the functional interface, so that the user does not have to deal with the underlying programming and electronics to use the computer efficiently. So all we're seeing is a representation of reality. We're not actually seeing reality. This is through his multimodal user interface theory. So this theory, MUI theory, implies epiphysicalism. So that means physical objects such as quarks and brains and stars are constructed by conscious agents. But such physical objects don't actually have causal power. So it's actually the conscious agents, the experiences, that are creating everything. This is what he calls conscious reality.
So all the things that you were mentioning, the particles and all the work that's been done, that's all been done in space-time. But now physicists are saying space-time is doomed. There's no such thing as space-time fundamentally in the laws of physics. And that comes actually out of gravity together with quantum field theory. It just comes right out of it. It's a theorem of those two theories put together. But it doesn't tell you what's behind it. So the physicists know that their best theories, Einstein's gravity and quantum field theory put together, entail that space-time cannot be fundamental, and therefore particles in space-time cannot be fundamental. They're just irreducible representations of the symmetries of space-time. That's what they are.